What's up, everybody? We back up in here, Hella Flagrant, the podcast. It's your main man, Hella Flagrant DM. I'm in here with my brother, Sean B. Flagrant. Shawnee B, we got the NFL draft is coming up, and I'm excited, man. What you looking like? What you seeing happening in this NFL draft, man?
Well, look, 49ers got the number 3 pick this year. Obviously, it's going to be pretty crazy. The Raiders slotted down at 17. We can see, hopefully, they get a defensive player. But, let's take a look at everything that they got, man.
We're gonna go ahead and take a quick look at the top, probably 4 or 5 draft picks and who we think is going where, and then we're gonna focus in on our specific teams. I'm gonna look at the 49ers. Obviously, they're picking third. You're gonna look at the Raiders, and we're just gonna kind of see what we're gonna do. But starting off, number one, your man Gardner Minshew is probably getting replaced. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they got the top pick, and everybody says that Clemson's quarterback Trevor Lawrence is who they're looking at.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has pretty much been slotted in that number 1 spot for about 2 or 3 years now. He's had, pretty much outstanding seasons over at Clemson. I think the only 2 games he has lost have been championship games or, games to go into the championship. But regular season wise, he's complete. They've went whatever and in those games. So, he is the number 1 quarterback. He is the number 1 prospect. I do not see any reason why he wouldn't be selected number 1. We do know Urban Meyer is up there now in Jacksonville as their head coach. So, there could be a possibility with a Justin Fields sliding in there for number 1. But, honestly, I think at this point, Jacksonville and the fans have pretty much already slated him as the number 1 pick. That is Trevor Lawrence. They've already sent him $20,000 worth of wedding gifts, for his wedding that just really happened. So, if they pick somebody else at that position, they'd feel pretty stupid. But yeah, I think this is Trevor Lawrence's, number 1 show.
Yeah. Then coming in at number 2, we got the New York Jets. Again, we're looking at a possible quarterback pick there. Now you get into having Zach Wilson and Justin Fields still on the table, even Mac Jones at that point. And that's where you get to talk about some of the chemistry and some of the things that the teams have talked about. And so I'm going to skip around a little bit and go to my team, San Francisco, who's got the number 3 pick. And it kind of looks like Mac Jones is the lock there. I know, Fields is been somebody that they've been looking at. I know Wilson's also been somebody that they've been looking at. But I really just think that Mac Jones is kind of going to be the quarterback that it fits the 49ers formula. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not over the top. He's not going to try to wow you in his first couple of seasons. I don't want to call him a game manager, but I think he's going to be able to manage to play this game the way the 49ers play football. And so I think out of the guys that they looked at, I think Mac Jones is kind of where the 49ers are leaning and probably should lean. But I don't know. What's your take?
Well, a lot of people I've talked to are not really for Mac Jones. And I think the reason for that is probably because, he played for Alabama. A lot of Alabama quarterbacks are not really considered as very high picks. But he is, from what other thing I've heard, intelligent. And he can, process reads faster than a lot of people. And that's kind of what you need in a Shanahan offense. So I think that might be a good fit. Now, a lot of people kind of looking at Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State. Also Justin Fields, like you said, out of Ohio State. Both of these quarterbacks are more dynamic, more running. The mobile quarterback, kind of like, I wouldn't say Patrick Mahomes, but more like Deshaun Watson, not like Lamar Jackson, but, more of a
Russell Wilson a little bit.
Yeah, get out of the pocket type of quarterback. Now, yeah, everybody wants that kind of quarterback if they turn out right. But there's also been a lot of criticism with those kind of picks if they're not that, I guess, caliber of player.
Right.
Example, like Robert Griffin III, when he first started, looked dynamic. Once he got injured, he wasn't anything. And Shanahan coached him. He was.
I was just about to say, you know who he played for, so
right. And they drafted Kirk Cousins also in that same draft, and they replaced him with that. And Shanahan has this weird love affection for Kirk Cousins and that style of quarterback. So I think that's why they're kind of leaning towards Mac Jones. and that being the pick because it
Yeah,
just fits
and
the system more.
I think too, in order for a Trey Lance and a Justin Fields to be successful in San Francisco, we've really got to sew up some of the injured spots in that offensive line. Also, in that, you know what I'm saying, solidify really having, is George Kittle's ankle going to make it through a whole season? Because you need all of those extra pieces to be able to have a mobile quarterback. You need tight ends that are going to be able to block and then also get out in the flat and catch the ball to be able to create some sort of diversion. We're going to need wide receivers that can actually block and then catch and be a threat down the field. You know what I'm saying? So I think Mac Jones, and I don't want to keep using the word safe pick, but I think he's the pick that, allows us to continue to be the team that we are right now, and then maybe, transition into something else. But for now, I think he's the guy that comes in right now and is able to fit into this team right now.
Yeah, let me ask you something, and I'm going to explain like this. I'm going to give you three guys. Okay, so the first guy has a DUI on his record, and possibly maybe has two. The second guy suffers from epileptic seizures, and he's done it his whole entire life. And the third guy has only played in one college season his whole career. He didn't throw one interception that whole game or that whole career, but when he was first, the reason why he wasn't picked very high or why he went to the school is because the school that he wanted to go to didn't see him as a quarterback. They only wanted to draft or recruit him as a receiver. Out of those three guys, who would you pick to be your quarterback? Not knowing who they are and just going off of the three information that I gave you. Who would you say, okay, I can't go with that. Those two, I could deal with this, but I couldn't deal with the other.
The DUI worries me, but I don't know that it's a deal breaker. I would definitely say the last guy that was under recruited is probably who I'd look at the most. Only because in football, with so many players at so many different positions, so many schools, like a lot of guys go under the radar. And you get a lot of guys that can actually play the game and play the position and are coachable, well coached guys. And so I think out of all of that, I'd take the under recruited guy.
Okay, well, the under recruited guy is Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. He didn't play last year at all. The year before that, he played at North Dakota, and like I said, no interceptions the whole year. But when he was recruited as a wide receiver and not as a quarterback. So that's the one that you chose. Mac Jones is the one with the DUI, and Justin Fields right now is sliding from what I hear on draft boards because he came out and said that he has epileptic seizures and he has medicine to take for that. But
epileptic seizures at the quarterback position definitely in football at all kind of bothers me because it's a contact sport that deals heavily with head injury. So that would concern me off the top. And then the DUI, like I said, it's something to take note of, but it's not a deal breaker yet, unless there's a pattern and a history, because 49ers have a pattern and a history of guys that, seem to love the influences.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's something to look out for, but I don't think off the top it's an immediate deal breaker.
That it's funny because y'all live in the Bay Area. If you're listening to it, about Santa Clara, San Jose, and how strict it is with the whole drinking and driving and all that stuff. Somebody was like, "Why would you bring Mac Jones down here with the DUI and him bringing when all you got to do is go down Santa Clara and you getting one like that?"
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I
wouldn't take it to thing, but
I would hope that the organization is going to do their best to provide him with transportation services and really do their best to kind of help him make sure he gets from place to place safely.
All Ubers for that rookie year.
Yeah, so rounding out the top five, you got Atlanta at 4 because they had such a wonderful season, and then Cincinnati at 5. Um, at Atlanta in two different mock drafts that I saw one had Atlanta taking a tight end, one had Atlanta taking a receiver, Jamar Chase and I think Kyle Pitts, or the two flip flop back in there. Um, Atlanta needs a lot. Um, I don't know why quarterback isn't on the radar for them. Matt Ryan's not that guy anymore. And he has proven that he's not that guy anymore. And so I don't know why a quarterback's not on the radar. And you've said this, I don't know how many times on this show. Every team every year should probably be thinking about drafting a quarterback, but the Atlanta Falcons should really be thinking about drafting a quarterback. Like, I don't know why that's not a higher priority on their list right now. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, something I heard about for Atlanta, the whole Matt Ryan thing. The reason why I think that they're keeping him around is strictly because of his contract. I think that his salary cap, if you let him go, would be somewhere close to $30 to $40 million, and they can't take that hit. So I can understand that, but at the same time, this is what I would be doing. I would be drafting a quarterback for his replacement. So that way, when you are able to let him go, you can cleanly let him go, and you can have an established guy waiting, ready to play,
Right.
like a Trey Lance who maybe hasn't had that much playing time because he didn't play a whole college season last year. And yes, he did go to North Dakota State, which is kind of a smaller school, but now he can sit behind, learn a little bit from Matt Ryan, and as soon as Matt Ryan's ready to go, boom, you can transition right to him. That's what I would personally be doing.
Yeah.
They are, like you said, I saw a lot of Kyle Pitts, I saw a lot of Jamar Chase. I think those are the best offensive weapons in terms of receivers in this draft. Both of them are dynamic as hell. But like you said, I mean, you already have Julio Jones on
And you
that
can't get
side.
the ball to him.
Right. You already have Calvin Ridley, who is one of the best receivers in football, even though he might be up and coming. He is outstanding. You have guys on that offense that can make plays. You can't get them the ball. I'm sorry, like it doesn't make sense to keep stacking up with all these different offensive players when you don't have anybody, like you said, to
Right.
throw them the ball.
Right.
It makes no sense. Like, yes, Jamar Chase and a Kyle Pitts would be great if you had a great quarterback that can get them the ball, but you got to start from the beginning first before you can go, you know, to the next step. Like, if you have so many holes, the number one position in football is the quarterback position, bar none. Like that, nothing else can work if you do not have a sure quarterback. And Matt Ryan is decent, but he's not who he used to be anymore.
Nah.
And you need to. You might not ever get a chance to be this high up, or might not have the talent to when you are have another draft later on to maybe acquire a quarterback that you want. So right now, you're at 4, and there's at least 5 quarterback prospects
Right.
that are that high.
Right. Like,
Why
and
would you
yeah,
not
and
get a
that's the
quarterback?
thing too. It's not like this draft is short on quarterbacks. Like, there are some good quarterbacks in this draft, and no team ever has ever. And I'm not knocking Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase, but you never build a franchise around your tight end or your wide receiver. I don't care how good they are. I mean, you look at
Right.
Odell Beckham. I mean, he's good, but he got hurt, and so the Browns had to figure out something else. And
And
so,
they went to the playoffs this year without him
right,
playing. That's the whole thing. Like receivers and even running backs and receivers, they're great offensively. They look great for fantasy football, but they're not going to help you win if you don't have the quarterback that can get them the ball. Period. Point blank.
absolutely. So, that's my take on that. I feel like Atlanta really needs to reconsider that and really be thinking about a quarterback. And maybe they'll surprise us on draft night and pop up with a quarterback. We'll see what happens there. Moving down the line, though, we're going to skip on down to the Las Vegas Raiders. You guys are picking at 17 in the first round. Are we going to replace Derek Carr? No.
No, not if they stay at 17. Honestly, though, I have been hearing a lot of rumors that the Raiders might try to pull something on draft day to where they either move up or they try to trade for a veteran. I've actually heard some weird rumors about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to sit here and speculate that would ever happen, but
Hey,
Things do
Aaron?
happen on draft day. Yeah, things do happen on
To
draft
the
day.
Vegas. Ooh, Vegas
I would love
lights
it.
and Aaron.
I would love it.
Again, I'd be happy for you guys. I would like to see it. Again, just because I love Las Vegas and not because I am a Raiders fan, I really want you guys to have a winning season so I can enjoy some great
Yeah.
football games in the city of Las Vegas. Like I do. I want you guys to have some winning. So if it takes getting Aaron Rodgers or something like that, I'm all for that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But if they stay at 17 and they don't do that, there's a few positions I think that they need a whole bunch of positions. Let's say that defense, defense, defense. Please, 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 Gruden, defense. Like, stop with all these damn wide receivers, man. Like, I don't understand. Like, you got 3, 4, 5. Like last year, they drafted 3 wide receivers in all their picks. You don't need that many receivers.
I think he's still
I'm
salty
sorry.
over the Khalil Mack thing. Like I something happened there. Something happened there.
Possibly. But with that, saying that, Khalil Mack is a defensive player. The Raiders can play offense when they're right with anybody. They have Darren Waller, who's one of the best tight ends in the game. Their receiving core is not bad. I love Renfro as a slot receiver. I think he'll start getting more and more exposure, and people start knowing who he is. But Hunter Renfro was raw. He actually played with Trevor Lawrence at Clemson his freshman year. But speaking of that, we have receivers. We don't need any receivers. We obviously have our running back in Josh Jacobs, and they also added Kendrick Drake over from Arizona. We're good. We're good. If you're not going to get a quarterback, we don't need any more offensive players at
Right.
all. Maybe offensive linemen, but I really don't. Unless you can get one of the top big boys, I don't really want it. Like if you can't get number 1 or 2, the one I think his name is Penny Sewell or Rashawn Slater, I don't want an offensive lineman. I want defense. Defense, defense, defense. So, with that being said, I know me and you talk about Michigan, Michigan players and how they always come out in the first round and they're not whatever. Look,
Right.
if this guy Quiddy Payne, if you can get him from Michigan, I'll take that personally. I watched a little bit of his background story. The dude is a monster. I'll take him. Get him. Or get the cornerback. J.C. Horn would be great. His dad obviously played in the NFL for the Saints. I mean, you guys remember Horn, the one that did whatever on the football. I forgot what his first name was. Anyway, him, J.C. Horn, Quiddy Payne, or let me see, who else was the guy that I like?
I got one mock draft saying Micah Parsons out of Penn State.
Micah Parsons is a linebacker. We do not have linebackers. I would take Micah Parsons. If they feel that I didn't see much about him, so I don't know. I know he went to Penn State. If he fits the part and he's good for we need a linebacker bad. So
yeah,
look,
you got a couple of edge rushers out there too. Azeez Ojulari, and then you got Jalen Phillips out of Miami.
Jalen Phillips, I'll take. I know Jalen Phillips. I've watched his game. He's a monster. I'll take that. Because you can always go for pass. You need pass rushers. Obviously, we don't have enough. Max Crosby is raw as hell. We just actually gave y'all 49ers some of our defensive positions, which I still cannot understand why you just let players walk. Well, not across the bay now because they live in Las Vegas. But I don't understand how you can just let them go right there. But either way, pass rushers, linebackers, cornerbacks, please, please, please. Like something with this first pick. Do not go offense. Please. Come on, John Gruden. Like, get the Al Davis out of you. Just you need
get the fastest black guy. No, I'm just playing.
Let's just be honest. Like Al loves speed. He loves speed. He loves the big arm quarterbacks that can get the ball. Like he loved it, and it's great. It's great, but it doesn't matter if you can't stop anybody.
Yeah,
like I'm
absolutely.
sorry. Like
absolutely. Is there anybody in this draft that you feel like may still be kind of overlooked? Like, is there anybody that you're like, man, this is a good pickup and nobody's really kind of giving them the eye that they should?
Yeah, two two players. I mean, both players are the same position, and even though running backs don't go in the, I mean, some of them have slidden down. I think these two running backs, the one out of Clemson, and obviously our boy out of the Bay Area, Najee Harris, um, they're going to wreck shop next year. I'm just going to say this like that. Like, I hope I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't have a running back anymore. I know the Buffalo Bills could definitely use it. Buffalo, look at this. This is perfect for you. You had Marshawn Lynch. You let him go for some odd damn reason. He went to Seattle and became a superstar. Bay Area product, a beast. You literally can make that up right now by going to get Najee Harris.
Yeah. Same
build, everything. Boy runs hard. I'm telling you. You saw him in the national championship. He scored, I think, 2 or 3 times. Like, he is a monster. Yeah. Go get him.
Yeah.
Go get him. Like, somebody. Like, I would be, if the Raiders didn't have Josh Jacobs, I would tell them to do it. Like, 100%. But we already have our running back room pretty much sewn up. But go get him. And Travis NEM or whatever, however you say his last name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But out of Clemson, he's also a superb running back, and I think that he will be good for them. Baltimore, I think, needs to get a receiver. Looking at everything, I know it's sliding here. They probably might go for defense. I think they need a receiver. With the news that Antonio Brown just signed, everybody kept saying that he might be a good candidate for them, but Antonio is now back with Tampa. Yep. So they need a receiver because I'm telling you right now, Lamar Jackson, brother, if you cannot get over that hump, it's going to be hard, man, because we know how dynamic you are, but you got to throw that football. You got to give the ball to somebody else. Like, you can't run and do that for the rest of your career.
I guess I got 2 other questions on here. Wait, what? No, what did they pick? Ooh, wait, do you not have a first round pick?
Who was that?
Houston.
No, they gave it. You have it.
We have it. We have your first. Ooh, the Deshaun Watson saga gets even more interesting now that you guys don't have a first round draft pick. Houston? Yeah, I was going to ask what Houston's going to do, but we don't care. So,
for quarterback?
I was going to figure out what they were going to do. Well, I'll figure out what they're going to do draft-wise because they don't have a J.J. Watt or, this whole Deshaun Watson situation going on.
They don't have anybody. They don't have anybody. They don't have Deshaun Watson.
And now you don't have a first-round pick either, so.
No, they don't have anything to do with anything. Like, Houston has a problem.
I'm taking the under on Houston's win-loss total when we get to Vegas.
What? Two early pilots. 2 and 14. Like, I don't know how much under you can get with that, man.
All right. Well, yeah, okay. I'll keep my money because that'll be a push.
If that. You got Tyrod back there under center. That's all you need. And Mark Ingram as your running back. That's 11 wins right there.
What is this, 2011? 2012? What are we doing here?
Deshaun Watson are going to be drafting the quarterbacks, and they're going to move on. So, Houston, you're going to have to bite that bullet. I mean, he's going to be your guy. And the problem is, no matter what happens, because the NFL will try to make an example out of Deshaun Watson, he won't be playing
at least the first season. Yeah, I'm about to say, at least the first 8 games, you're not going to have him. So, again, like, what are you going to do, Houston? So that should be interesting. And so we'll see. I'm looking forward. I hope there are some surprises on draft night. The last couple of drafts have been extremely predictable for the most part. So I'm looking to see that maybe somebody just like surprises us and does something crazy on draft night. Maybe trade up, maybe trade a pick away, something. Excite me, NFL. Give me something. So we're gonna look forward to that. NFL draft is coming up, and so we'll look to see what happens there. Something else, since we want to talk about excitement, we're gonna get off the NFL topic for just a moment. Floyd Money Mayweather is going back to the ring. Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather. It's going down June 6th in Miami, Florida. I have so much I want to say and so little I probably can say, so I have to be careful. But I'm interested in this for a ton of reasons. Obviously, we've been seeing more of this. Jake and Logan Paul fighting other athletes and stuff like that, and it's cute. But we've never, we've never seen them fight somebody of this caliber. And we know Floyd can fight. We know it's exhibition. We know we haven't seen Floyd in a little while. But what do you think is going to happen here?
I mean, it's gonna the same thing that happens to every fighter that fights Floyd. It's gonna be quick. Look, this is a money grab. This is more just it's a show. It's fun. It's just for pay-per-view purposes to me. So what's happening? Okay, how I'm looking at this, UFC has kind of stolen the show, especially since the pandemic's happened. But they've kind of the way that they've scheduled their fights and putting the best competition against each other, they're kind of taking over. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm a huge boxing fan, but I've actually started to really get into the UFC. I ordered the last fight that was this past weekend, and it was amazing. Usman and Mazadov, that was excellent. All the cards on that were perfect. But because of that, I feel like boxing is kind of taking a step back, and they kind of need, I guess, something to bring their eyes back to the sport. And lately, what they've been doing is they've been getting all these older, older fighters that people that actually used to love boxing used to like. I mean, obviously, we had Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, which was an embarrassment. To say the least. I bought it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I bought it, and I bought it strictly because those were two of my favorite fighters growing up, and I felt like I had to see it just for the strength of it. But with that, speaking of that fight, before that, Jake Paul fought my partner Nate Robinson. Rest in peace, Nate. I still haven't heard from you since since you got knocked down. Man. But because of all that excitement, Jake Paul became pretty big, and Logan Paul as well. The brothers have been, kind of forefronting of boxing, which is still surprising to me, considering you have Canelo Alvarez and all these other big name boxers that are still fighting. But now everybody is just going to these two brothers that, because they have gotten, Instagram and that kind of traffic, YouTube traffic, now they're in the forefront, which tells you a lot about social media and how it's coming of age and stuff like that. But look, the fact of the matter is Floyd is going to be fighting Logan Paul on June 6th in Miami. I'm sure they'll have a lot of other fighters.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm interested to see now that they've announced this, because Floyd is such an attention seeker. I want to see what other undercards they're going to try to put up under this to make this thing like a huge thing.
They're going to, because they're going to want to charge a whole bunch of money. So they're going to try to put, either a whole bunch of washed up fighters fighting, or just maybe some people that you might know, just here and there, just to get their attention.
The return of Riddick Bowe? Is he coming back?
I hope not. But that kind of stuff, though, seriously, because I mean, look, I'm being very serious. There's already going to be a fight in July with Oscar De La Hoya. Jesus Christ. Oscar De La Hoya is going to be fighting in July.
Prince Nassim Ahmed? Like, what are we doing here?
I don't look. The night before the Floyd fight, Evander Holyfield is fighting. I don't even know who he's fighting, but I saw that it was June 5th is Evander and June 6th is Floyd.
Okay. So we're just gonna announce it. Me and you, and we're gonna get Tyree Leonard as a sub. we're bringing back Hoop It Up 3-on-3 World Tour. So people want to see people washed up do what they used to do.
Right.
We're bringing back the 3-on-3 Hoop It Ups. Coming to an LA Fitness near you,
I was
sponsored
about to
by.
say, if y'all wanna pay me to see me shoot miss free throws, miss layups, I'll do that all day, man. Like
Right,
shit.
like wow, we got Evander Holyfield back in the ring, man. Like, and
Yeah.
this is, trust me, this is not a personal knock on Evander Holyfield. Like, I hope this guy's in good shape and ready to do what he considers fighting at this point. But I just, yeah, and see, that's the problem with boxing right now is that you focused so much on certain guys and you didn't market. You know what I'm saying? Like you Triple G fights are cool, but you never market him as a person. You didn't really like, yeah, Floyd and Pacquiao, but even Pacquiao wasn't really marketed as a guy. Like he was just a guy that Floyd kept fighting, or that he
Right.
ran from for a long time, and that he was just really fast and all that stuff. But like you didn't market him to make young boxers want to like be like him and come up. You know what I'm saying? Like you had the Danny Garcias of the world that really didn't get marketed. He was good, but you didn't really do anything with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think there's a lot of guys in boxing that just kind of fell by the wayside. And so, like you said, it was easy for a Jake and a Logan Paul because they just were popular to come in and be like, all right, well, y'all don't like the guys that are good at boxing. We'll just bring some popularity and some eyes over to the sport and see what we can do.
Right.
But I hope that boxing could take this opportunity to maybe pin some of their actual boxers, like, get somebody that can act like not a Floyd. I mean, obviously we know Floyd can box, but get somebody that's up and coming in the ranks and maybe they fight one of these more popular guys. Now, the bad side would be if they lost, like we would hate to see a Canelo lose to, you know what I'm saying, a Jake Paul. I don't think it would happen if it's a straight up boxing match, but it would also be awesome for the sport if it did. It'd be the biggest,
Right.
like one of the best marketing things for the sport because now you'd have real boxers wanting to be like, nah, hold on, I could take him out. This ain't nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you'd have an opportunity to get back to boxing and really hone in on that. And maybe I'm thinking, too big for the sport. But I just really, as a fan of boxing, I don't want to see it to where it's just some YouTubers and celebrities, and it's you know what I'm saying? It's like Celebrity Deathmatch from MTV, and they're just playing with it. It's not what it was. You know what I mean?
Right. No, and I think the reason why, like I was saying about UFC, I think the reason why it's so popular is because of the fact that they push the big fights fast. They market it very well, but they also like Dana White doesn't give you a chance to say, well, I don't think I want to fight this person. I'll wait. Or I don't think I want to do this. I'll wait. He sees what the money's at. He sees what people want, and he just puts them together and says, you have to go do it. Boxing is a little bit different. Obviously, Floyd, like, for example, we were waiting for Floyd Pacquiao for years. It took way too long for it to come about. I don't know who was ducking who. It doesn't really matter either way. The fact of the matter is, it took almost 5 years when they were both at their prime to fight. You can't do that. You can't have people sitting there waiting, wanting to
Right.
see these two at their top fight. And that's what boxing does. Like right now, Canelo has been pretty much fighting bums. Where's the Triple G fight again? Like, put that back together. Like,
Right.
that's the problem. Like, they don't give enough effort into it because I get it. These guys are their own businesses. The money has to be where it's supposed to be. So they take their time and they do what they want to do. Just like Floyd right now. Floyd's doing this for an exhibition. He's only doing it for money. He's not doing it because of whatever. He just knows that right now people are so into paying for these two guys. So he said, let me just go do this. I'll make an exhibition so it can't go against my record either way. I'll just give the people what they want, take the money and run. Same thing when he did with McGregor. It's the same thing. Like Floyd right now is at a point where he doesn't really need to do anything because he has his 50-0 record. So he's just doing stuff real quick to get
Right.
a pay cut, which is fine. But for the other fighters, this is the problem. When you start having all these different things, like you said, like Logan, Jake Paul, these YouTubers and everything like that. You have UFC. The whole boxing thing is getting pushed to the side,
Yeah.
and I don't think that it's ever going to be back the way it is because the way that people's attention span is, give me what you got to give me right now, and let me be done with
Yeah.
this. And we don't have time to wait.
I also think too some some boxers, and I don't know them personally, but I feel like some boxers are scared to take an L the way the media is, and
True.
I think you got to shake that. Like this is a sport. You get in the ring, one guy's gonna win, one guy's gonna lose, or it's a draw. I mean, for the most part, like it's a 50-50 sport. Like you knew that when you started training for this thing, and so it's like I don't feel like there's enough guys out there that are willing to be like, nah, I'll take on the challenge. I'll take on whatever challenge. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the guys, especially the guys that are good and they're kind of at the top of boxing or even moving up the ranks, are allowing their camps to handpick opponents and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of weak. And so again, I think boxing is going to have to force the issue of some of these more contentious fights or figuring out a way to get, some of this attention grabbed from these YouTubers and bring it back over to their actual fighters. So not going to spend too much more time on that, but definitely have to address that. We'll definitely obviously report on that as the flagrant foul. There's going to be way more flagrant news on Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul coming up as this thing comes around in June. Yeah, we'll keep you updated on everything that's flagrant, including the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight, and everything, all the other flagrant news as it comes up right here on Hella Flagrant the podcast. But on that note, we're gonna sign out. We're gonna check y'all on the next one. Make sure you guys tune in: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon, we're everywhere. So just make sure you tune in, tap in with us, comment, like, subscribe. Hella Flagrant the podcast. We check y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.